Hey, what's up guys? So, for those of you running one of the new Viofo HK6 line of dash cams, well, Viofo has just released their new HK6 parking mode cable, which is the upgraded version of their original HK4. There's a couple of new features here, but the biggest advantage of the new cable is the fact that if you want to use their hybrid parking recording mode, and have it switch between regular parking recording and low power parking recording when the car battery drops below a certain level, well, you now have that capability here with the new HK6 cable. With the HK4 parking recording cable, you still got access to all the regular parking recording modes, the low power parking recording mode, and the hybrid parking recording mode, but you're gonna do this switch based on the timer, not on a voltage drop of the battery. Now, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, pause this video and first go back and watch the video going over the different parking recording modes here on the A329X line of dash cams. That's going to be covering all this kind of stuff in more detail. And in this video, I'm going to be assuming that you're familiar with the basics, and we're going to go ahead and start diving into the new HK6 cable and the new design and new features that it offers. Additionally, because both of these new cables are now available and the HK6 is a few bucks more than the HK4, we're also going to be taking a look at whether or not it makes sense to go for the HK6 over the HK4. Now, as a Hardwire cable, most of the basics here are going to be the same as most any other cable. It's going to be plugging into your car's fuse box or a dedicated dashcam battery pack. The power is going to flow here into the Hardwire cable and then all the way through here to the dashcam. And like the HK4, which has the option here to choose different voltage cutoff levels so that when the dashcam drains your car battery below a certain level, this will actually shut off the dashcam to ensure that it doesn't fully drain your car battery and you can still start your car up next time. You'll see over here there's a little slider down at the bottom that allows you to choose between 11.8 to 12.4 volts or different ranges between 23.6 to 24.8 for 24 volt vehicles. Now we've got the same thing here on the HK6 with a slider here like this as well. In this case, the voltage cutoff thresholds are all listed on the back, and you've got a slightly larger switch here, which is a little bit easier to press and adjust as needed. Now, something that's new though is that both the input cable and the output cables are now actually removable. So if, let's say, down the line you want to upgrade dash cams or something, you can just unplug the power cable for the old camera and then run a new cable for the new dash cam. And the same thing is true here for the input cables here as well. Next, let's go ahead and take a look at how this HK6 works so that we can see it in action. And to test it out, I've got it hooked up to an A329S, which is connected here to a power supply. Now for this one, I've got it set right now to 11.8 volts. And so when I drop the voltage here before or below 11.8, that should tell the dash cam to fully power off. However, if we go over here into the settings, if we go into parking recording mode and then vehicle battery protection, and then the cutoff voltage option, we now have the option here to choose a second cutoff voltage that's not going to shut off the dash cam altogether the way this will, but will actually choose at what point the dash cam switches from regular parking recording mode over to low power parking recording. And you can see we've got a couple different options here. For now, I'll set it to 12.2 volts. Then we'll go back and down over here to parking mode, and we're going to choose the hybrid recording option. And then we've got a couple options to choose what parking mode we want before it drops to 12.2 volts. For now, let's do auto event detection, which is going to be our buffered motion detection and impact detection. And then once we drop below 12.2, it's going to switch to non-buffered impact detection. So we'll go ahead and choose this for now, and then let's start testing it out. So right now we're here in our normal driving recording.
Parking recording started.
Cool. Now in the normal full power parking recording mode, you can see it's still pulling what, 215 milliamps or so. So it's not at the low power parking recording mode. And so for that reason, if I trigger like an impact or something, it's going to go ahead and start recording that. You can see that light stopped blinking. It's now recording. It's solid. So because of that impact, the dash cam is recording. And then after a period of time, it's going to go back to just kind of waiting for another motion or another impact to trigger the next parking detection clip. And then once we get to that point here where we see the LED blinking again, it's waiting for the next trigger. We're going to go ahead and start dropping the voltage here. And let's go below 12.2. Let's go to like 12.0 volts. And so we're below 12.2. We're now going to switch over to the low power parking recording mode. but still above the threshold here to where that is gonna fully shut off the dash cam. Now, something you'll notice is it's still pulling a normal power draw. We're at what, 235 milliamps or so. It doesn't actually switch immediately over to the low power parking recording mode. And I think this has to do with the fact that the battery drain from car batteries is not always a linear drop. It can kind of fluctuate a little bit, and it doesn't want to like immediately switch over to low power parking recording mode as soon as the voltage drops below the level. So that's kind of my guess. But either way, after a little period of time, it is going to switch over to low power parking recording mode. And when that happens, yep, there it goes. You're going to see the current start to drop way, way lower now that it's switching to the low power parking recording mode. And you'll see the LEDs actually shut off here on the dash cam. I'll also put on screen how long it took there for the dash cam to switch to low power parking recording mode, just because I'm curious, and I'm sure some of you guys are too. But anyways, it's now kind of in the low power parking recording mode. It's not actually fully off. And so for that reason, if it detects an impact or something, it's going to wake up. You can see the LEDs kick on, the power draw resumes because it's now recording again. So it's going to be recording that impact. And then after a period of time, it's going to go back to sleep, back into the low power parking recording mode. And there we go. Looks like it's going back to sleep. So the LEDs shut off and that's going back down again. So now let's say that we've got it parked for a while here, and even with the low power draw here, the car battery is going to continue to drop in voltage. So we're going to go down from 12.0. Let's say I want to go past it for now for the sake of the example, down to 11.6. Now the cutoff here is 11.8, so I'm not sure if it's like exactly 11.8 or if it has to be lower or whatever, but anyways, for now, we're gonna put it at 11.6. Now, something I've noticed is, again, it's still pulling power here for the low power parking recording. And I think just like before with the built-in voltage cutoff at like the 12.2 level, it's not gonna immediately shut off the dash cam. It will, it just takes a little bit of time. I'll put that number here on screen as well. But either way, after about a minute-ish or so, then it's gonna go ahead and fully shut off the dash cam. And there we go. You can see it fully stop pulling power because now the HK6 kicked in and fully shut off the dash cam. Next, let's go ahead and simulate what happens when we turn the car back on. So we'll crank our voltage back up as if like our alternator's running. We'll go ahead and connect our ignition triggered wire here, and then that's gonna go ahead and provide power here and kick on the dash cam. Now at startup here, it's gonna go ahead and search for the HK6 cable, and when it finds it, you can see it displays it right here on screen. Now that's actually being done wirelessly over Bluetooth, not wired over the cable that runs here into the top of the dash cam, which I find a little bit weird and does introduce some issues, which I'll talk about here in just a moment. But I also wanted to show you something that's in development that is gonna be coming in a future firmware update. And to do that, let's go ahead and send the dash cam back into parking recording mode. And now that our LED is blinking, we'll just go ahead and trigger an impact here like this. The dash cam detects an impact, wakes up and begins recording just like before. Then eventually goes back to, well, not back to sleep, but kind of waits for the next impact. And now that it's kind of in just waiting mode, we'll go ahead and reconnect our ignition triggered wire, kind of simulating turning on the engine, and watch this.
Recording. One channel started. An impact was detected while parking.
Check that out. We now have impact detection notifications while parked. Both this kind of like pop up here on the display, as well as a spoken notification in case you've got the dash cam installed behind your windshield. That is really cool. That's not available yet on the public firmware, but this is something that they're currently working on and bringing. So something that I'm really looking forward to. Speaking of which, another thing is the voltage information. When you're driving around, because the dash cam can pull voltage information from the HK6 cable, you'll actually see it displayed on the bottom of the dash cam footage. And this applies to both the A329 series dash cams and the A229 Ultra. However, there's currently no way to disable that voltage stamp, so it's always going to be on your dash cam footage. And if you take a look in the stamp section where you can turn on and off the different things that are stamped onto the video footage, again, you won't see an option here for the voltage info. So that is going to be something that we're going to be seeing again in a future version of the different firmwares here for the different dash cams. And speaking of which, I've since been sent an updated test firmware that has the new option available here that lets us disable the voltage stamp that gets embedded onto the dash cam footage. And as far as displaying that voltage info, Viofo says it's compatible with the A329X line of dash cams, the A229 Ultra, and the upcoming A119M Pro. Now, coming back here to the HK6 cable again real quick, again, kind of the only real feature that it gives you is going to be specifically the hybrid parking recording mode like this. with the voltage cutoff options. If you're using the HK4, you can still do the hybrid parking recording mode. You're just going to be using the timer here like this. And in fact, this is actually the version that I prefer if you're running a dedicated Dashcam battery because, well, I'm not really worried about the voltage drop on a battery pack. I want it to go as long as possible. And I just kind of set it to something like this to say, hey, you know, I'm usually only out for maybe 6 or 8 hours at a time. Otherwise, maybe just shut off and run low power parking recording or something. So if you're running a dedicated Dashcam battery pack, I think this becomes less useful. It's going to be most useful if you're running it connected to a car battery and you want the cutoff voltage here to work with voltage for the hybrid parking recording mode. Additionally, if you're running maybe like just full-time low power impact detection, this is available with the HK4 or 6. And same thing with all the other parking recording modes. These also work with both power cables. Again, it's only if you want the hybrid parking recording and you also want the vehicle battery protection, that switch to be done via voltage and not via the timer. That's really kind of the main benefit here of the HK6 in terms of added functionality, besides things like the new connectors and cables. Now you can also use the HK6 with a Dashcam that does not support the low power or hybrid parking recording modes. And in that case, I guess maybe the main benefit would be things like the upgraded removable connectors, which can make it easier if you want to change and upgrade your Dashcam down the line. Now, lastly, I want to talk about a weird quirk that I found here with the HK6, specifically when you're running multiple VFO Dashcams. And this is kind of weird. I was testing the 8229 Ultra connected to the HK6, and that, of course, was getting the voltage information that it could display on the bottom of the screen. But surprisingly, the A329S that I also had in my car that was connected to an HK4, that was also displaying voltage information as well. Now, the reason this happens is because the fact that voltage information is being wirelessly broadcast over Bluetooth, and it turns out, well, it seems like any available Viofo Dashcam nearby is able to pick it up, even if it's not physically even plugged into this cable. And so that can be useful if, let's say, you're running multiple VFOs in your car. Let's say, for example, you've got an A329S, but you're like, hey, I want a 4-channel version. I know a lot of you guys have mentioned that in the comments. I want front, rear recording. I want the telephoto and the interior cabin cam, but that's 4 channels and these are limited to 3. Well, one solution is to buy like 2 of these, an A329S and an A329T or something. Do like one in the front window, another one in the back, and then you've got the extra channels available now to hook up your telephoto and your cabin cam. So now you've basically got 2 of these things. Now, if let's say you buy the Dashcams and you buy the HK6 as well, if you happen to already have an HK4 available and the cables run and everything from like a previous install, well, you can reuse that HK4 and then just wire in the HK6 for the second Dashcam, and now both of them are going to be able to connect and pull voltage information here from this one cable, which is actually kind of convenient. I wasn't expecting that. That said, it can also lead to other weird conflicts. Like I found the A329T that I've got installed in the other car, also on an HK4. When both cars were parked in the garage, that would actually pull the voltage information wirelessly from my other car over Bluetooth. And so even though there's no HK6 in that car, it was still pulling voltage information from another Dashcam in another car. And so something to be aware of if you've got multiple Dashcams. Now, it does look like there's kind of a workaround for this as well. There's some documentation that I've seen posted on the forums. It talks about how you can actually pair your Dashcam with a cable. Basically, when the Dashcam powers on, it seems like it's going to be linking itself to whichever cable is powered on. So if you've got multiple cables, make sure like only one of them has power when you turn on the Dashcam for the first time. And I think it's going to pair itself to whichever HK6 it sees first. And then if you want to change it, I think you got to like factory reset it and then have it see another HK6 cable. So maybe just pay attention to that if you want to have like multiple cables and multiple Dashcams and all that kind of stuff. A lot of this, I guess, could have been avoided if they just had it all work over the wired connection, because you already have, you know, the cable plugging into the USB GPS antenna right here, and you already have the wired communication. So that would have been simpler and saved on cost without having to do Bluetooth. But I guess it has the advantage of being able to provide power or voltage info now to multiple Dashcams, which has, I guess, its pros and cons, but that's a look here at this new HK6 that's now available on Viofo's website. I'm sure in time it'll also be available on sites like Amazon, but it seems like here at launch, just like with their Dashcams, it's only available here first from Viofo's website, and I'll put a link to it down in the video description. And for those of you who made it through this entire video on a Dashcam power cable, thanks for being that committed and just hanging out here while we do a whole video talking about a power cable. And with that said, that I guess kind of like wraps up my series here on the A220S, A220 Ultra, all that kind of stuff. I've got a lot of other dash cams that I would like to test out as well. I'm gonna start taking a look at some other brands next. And I'm really excited to check out all the other innovations and new dash cams that are coming out here too. And so thanks so much for watching. I hope you're all doing great, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. And I think it's gonna pair itself to whichever